I'm going to start out with some history. Back in 1998, I came out of the narcotics unit after spending 9 years there, and I was pretty dejected because we had a lot of good people addicted to drugs, wanted to get off, and no way to get out of it. That's when I first met Shara Gonzalez. Little did I know at that time, she'd been working on it for at least 2 years before that. Fast forward to 2002, when I was elected sheriff and found out that I was now responsible for all the inmates in the Reno County facility. And thought, well, I didn't like it because we were seeing so much recidivism. So how do we get around that? Got a captive audience, see if we can start programs. Didn't have the money or the actual facility to do that. Thankfully, the voters of Reno County gave us that facility in 2014. A grant allowed us to hire Michael Hill Jr. and him, along with Captain Sean McClay, have made that project work in the Reno County Jail. But we still were missing a piece, and that was what this facility provides. Because of Jade coming along in 2015, reactivating everybody, getting us excited again, we're now to this point where Harold Casey and Shar are working together. We also work with the Oxford House. Matt got a very good relationship with them. They now have the transitional job training, thanks Lacey, and things are starting to look up. But everything goes to this lady right here.
Words, and I'm going to try to make it brief because there's a strong possibility I might ugly cry, so judgment-free zone. Thank you, Shara, for letting me say a few words. I think it's important to say that, or to acknowledge that every person in this community has value, and this facility is our community's recognition that people with substance misuse disorders, people who are struggling with substance misuse, are worth investing in. They are not to be written off.
Hear, hear.
They have unique talents and contributions that will add to the richness of our community if we just give them a chance, give them some help in reaching their potential. So when I started the Drug Impact Task Force over 6 years ago, it was with the understanding that the status quo was not working for our community. We had huge local service gaps that led to us throwing millions of dollars at the criminal justice system for what was largely a public health problem. You know, we had employers who couldn't find employees to pass a drug screen, not to mention the huge human costs to families. You know, many of us in here have lost people to these challenges. And our community stood up and it said no more. You know, no more. And, you know, as Randy alluded to, Shara knew about these gaps a long time ago. And the biggest, most loftiest goal of that Drug Impact Task Force was a detox and treatment facility. But everybody said it couldn't be done. The business case doesn't pencil out. But with Shara's passion and persistence, she kept the project at the front of everyone's mind. She said that, I mean, she helped us understand that because it was necessary, it can't be impossible. Like, that's not an option. We got to figure it out, right? And so, you know, this facility is the work of a lot of people and a lot of conversations and a lot of investment. $50,000 from the city was put in, $50,000 from the county, but that's just such a small piece, you know? This is the community success. And I'll let Shara do the thanking because there's so many people to thank, but I did just want to say a few special thank yous to people who joined this effort when I tried to rekindle it, and that was, you know, Lynette Lacey. She stepped up and gave her expertise at no cost and has kept working for 6 years straight, through the ups and downs of the task force. I wanted to thank Harold Casey. We've been having these conversations for well over a decade, since I was on the New Beginnings board. And I wanted to thank the health department for stepping up and taking what was a loose group of volunteers and creating structure and legitimacy and programming, largely through the work of Seth Dewey. So I'm just so proud of our community for recognizing this needed to be done. We have all shared the losses, but this facility is emblematic of all the success we're going to share, all the success that comes out of it. So thank you.
Well, as the developer of this project, it couldn't be done without funds. And what's unique about this project is this is truly a community effort. I was just saying, there is no federal dollars or state dollars into this project. This came from Hutchinson as a community and the recovery community that includes Wichita and SAC and our recovery community here. So quite an effort, and these are the folks that helped fund this project. The City of Hutchinson and the City Council members, Reno County and the County Commissioners, the Board of Directors of Substance Abuse Center of Kansas, the Walter and Velma Justice Foundation, James and Julia Davis Foundation, the Beach Edwards Foundation, Mr. Mert Sellers, Robert and Christina Peel, Steve Dillon, Brad Dillon, Oxford House Chapter 13, Kevin George, Addicts Against Overdose, and New Beginnings Board of Directors.
Yeah.
I'm speechless almost, but I.
No, you're not.
But what I do want to say is just a little bit of the passing of the torch, so to speak. This building, we were asked to come at, when we had just a simple shelter, this was the executive inn, we were asked to come take some of our folks and they would pay them to help clean this up. They were getting ready to make it back into the motel. And the people came back and said, I'm not going back. There's needles falling out of the ceiling, there's needles everywhere, there's drugs everywhere. And this is just across the street from our Chamber of Commerce. That was what was going on at the time. And so some years later, we inherited this building and it became Walnut Court Apartments on the north side and transitional housing here on the south side. And from that moment, which was in 2005, we have partnered with SAC because we realized that as having started to be a homeless organization, that addiction had played a huge part in that, and we needed their services, and we've partnered ever since. We have that plus the we have a building at 400, the Scott Center, 400 West 2nd, which is also the recovery center we've partnered with. And so here, in a sense, I'm just passing the torch to the Substance Abuse Center of Kansas and Harold Casey. Thank you, Harold, for all the years.
Thank you very much. I can't thank you all enough. I can have a good idea, Shara can have a good idea, and I think the first time we began talking about this was at least 12 years ago, maybe longer. It's just an idea. And out of a lot of things that have happened in my life and in all our lives that are successful, I didn't want to do this. I didn't think about doing this. I was just trying to help get it done. I really want to thank the New Beginnings Board. They've been very supportive. The SAC Board has been very supportive. These are risks. They're going to be a successful risk, but it's still a risk. You know, in this field, it's not where you get rich, and it's not about the money. Anyway, not from my board of directors. we started providing services here in '95 at no cost and no reimbursement because we were getting so many referrals. And over time, little bit at a time, we've been able to provide more services and continue that endeavor. But even 4 years ago, I wouldn't have thought we would be here today. I thought we would be someday, but probably not this quickly. These things take a lot of time, but it's going to be worth it. We believe it'll be a cost savings. We think a lot of that cost savings will be for the local hospital, the emergency department, EMS, the police and the sheriff's departments. One of the things we've seen with the Detox in Wichita is officers can bring people in and drop them off in about 5 to 10 minutes. And that's so much better than having to take them to the hospital and for the officer to have to wait 5 or 6 hours for them to be able to leave. And so there's a lot of savings about this. And I know this isn't about me, but I do think it's important to talk about. 40 years ago, I went to a state-funded treatment center. I didn't want to go. I was pressured to go like everybody is. But it worked for me. And the state of Kansas paid for that treatment. Today, I pay my taxes. I have a job. I believe I'm an important role in the communities that I work in. But more important than that, I have 100 staff that work. Many of them are in recovery, and they pay their taxes, and they're an important part of the community. And all of us at some point had been given up on.
Mm-hmm.
All of us at some point, people thought, I've had enough, I'm tired of you, you need to move on. And that's the people we're going to be working with here. It'll be mostly an indigent population of men, because that's where the longest waiting list is right now for treatment services. We'll also be providing detox for women and men both, and getting women to other community services for special women's programs. So anyway, this isn't about any one of us. It's about all of us, and putting our ideas and our commitments into one project that will then build a lot more over time. So thank you all very much for your support. Wouldn't be here without you, wouldn't want to be here without you. And I and my board of directors are very thankful to everybody in the Hutchinson and Reno County community for helping us. Thank you.
I would be remiss in not mentioning the folks who spent hours, Randy, actually putting this building together. There are people in recovery in a program we operate called the Transitional Jobs Program that helps people move from no employment into recovery into full-time permanent employment. So I want to thank them all for all the hard work they've done in this building.